Welcome to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. Today is The Stacks Best Books of 2020, and I am joined by two of my favorite readers to break down this year in reading. Christine Bollow is the Marketing and Programs Manager at Loyalty Books, and she's the reader behind the Bookstagram account, Reading is Magical. Our other guest is the hilarious and insanely creative Oscar Almonte-Espinal, the reader behind Books T. Henny on Instagram. We're picking our top 10 and telling you about the books we're most looking forward to in 2021. Reminder, the Stacks Book Club pick for December is Citizen, an American Lyric by Claudia Rankine, and we will discuss the book on Wednesday, December 30th with Darnell Moore. Patreon is an incredible website that allows everyday creators like me to connect with my supporters like you and offer you all unique perks in exchange for your support. In my case, I call my Patreon community the Stacks Pack, and they earn things like the Stacks Virtual Book Club and discounts on merch. They also get to rest easy knowing their contributions make the Stacks possible. If you want to join the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. This week, I'm shouting out some of our newest members of the Stacks Pack. Melissa Mellis, Allie, April Nickerson, Okayame Haley, Kristen Anton, Jessica Wunderlich, Corey B., Becky Fuller, Anna Garrity, and Caitlin Duffy. Thank you all so much. You make this show possible. Okay, now let's get to the Stacks official best books of 2020. All right, everybody. It is, I don't know, maybe one of my most favorite episodes of the year. It's the Stacks favorite books of 2020 episode. This year we're doing something a little different. 2020's sort of been a shit show for many people. There have been really good things about this year, but there have also been some just fucking disastrous things about this year. So I decided that a way to have a little bonus fun was to bring on two of my favorite bookstagrammers to talk about our 10 favorite books of 2020. So I have brought on Christine Bollow, who is the reader behind Reading is Magical. Christine, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Tracy.
So excited. And I've brought on everyone's favorite body roller, Oscar Almonte-Espinal, the reader behind Books T. and Henny. Oscar, welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited to have you both. We're really mixing it up. Normally, in the past 2 years, I've had literary Lauren Fenella as my guest. But this year I thought, why not mix it up a little bit, try some new people, spread the love. So I'm really excited that both of you agreed to join me on this episode. And for those of you listening at home, how it's going to work is we're just going to tell you the books we loved this year. The only real rules behind this is that the book had to be published in 2020. And then at the end of the episode, we'll talk about what we're looking forward to in 2021. And before we get to our books, for people who don't know both of you, I'd just love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you live, what you generally like in reading, like what kind of reading vibe you normally go for, so that when you say your favorite books, people are like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I might like that. Or they'll be like, oh, she reads shit that I'm not into. Like, I'm not going to pick that up or whatever. So, Oscar, why don't you start?
Okay, so I am from Philadelphia. So I'm in the Philly area. What was the other question?
Just tell us about your, we're off to a great start. Tell us about your reading taste and everything.
Okay, so my reading taste, I read honestly everything, but I like reading literary fiction, books with like some good prose. I usually go for that. That's what's going to be at the top of my list this year. Books with good writing. But I really jump into like historical fiction, thrillers I do here and there, and nonfiction. I've been getting into the nonfiction this year. So yeah, I just have my hand in everything.
You do. And you're a student?
Yes, I am a student. I'm a senior. I'm about to graduate in May. I'm excited. At Penn State. Yeah, so.
And you're an English major?
Yeah, I'm an English major. I'm doing a minor in history, but
okay.
Yeah, we're going to be down the low.
And in a few, I don't know, as soon as maybe June or in the next year or so, you're going to be an editor at a major publisher, right? That's the goal?
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see how that works. But yeah, I'm trying to get a job in the publishing industry. because I love books and I want to be surrounded by books and work with books. So,
all right. Well, we're just putting that out there. We should say it because this episode, this wrap up episode is sort of famous in my life for putting things out there and then they actually happen the next year. So I went back and listened to the 2019 episode and there were a few authors that I was like, oh, they should come on the podcast. And they did, or some books that I was excited about that made it on my top list. So we're just putting out Oscar needs a job in publishing in 2021. So, hook him up, homies. I know some of you editors are out there listening. I know some of you authors are listening, paying attention. Can you hook up my boy?
Period, right? Like, yes. I'm trying to get into it. You know what I'm saying?
And Christine, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I live in Denver, Colorado, and I work remotely for Loyalty Bookstores, which is yes, they're amazing. The owner, Hannah Oliver Depp, is seriously one of the best humans ever. Loyalty, for anyone who doesn't know, is a Black and queer-owned bookstore. And I do the marketing and programming. I'm one of the managers there, and I love it. Let's see. I have pretty eclectic taste. I love literary fiction, but I love graphic novels, YA, middle grade, some style. I love weird and wonderful, things that are just kind of quirky. I like Japanese fiction has a lot of kind of what's going on, but I love that shit. What else? I don't know. I mean, this year I've been definitely reading more romance, cozy mysteries because, needed something a little easier on the brain. Pretty much I read almost everything but horror.
Okay. So one of the things, look, 2020 was not the year that I think any of us anticipated when 2019 came to an end or when the year was starting. So I'm curious, what did you all think about the year in books sort of generally? And what were the ways that you feel like maybe your reading was affected by the year 2020? And you can kind of take that to mean whatever you want.
I know for me, there would be 2 weeks where I would just read constantly and would be super focused on reading. And that this is post-pandemic or post-March. And then all I could do for a month would just be watching cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies. I literally could not focus on reading. Audiobooks have saved me a lot as far as still staying in touch with books. So I've just tried to be more forgiving with myself, in that maybe I'm not getting to all of the books I wanted to, but just being grateful for what I was able to get to because there were still some amazing books out there. I really feel for authors who had books out this spring and this summer, especially debut authors, debut authors by people of color. So I've definitely been trying to focus on reading and supporting their books and those authors more.
Yeah, for me, when the whole pandemic went into the whole everything's locked down, I was in the middle of spring break, so I was already reading a lot. I guess the pandemic helped me read more than usual, I guess. I was just reading because watching the news, I was just getting anxiety. And I also 1 week after spring break, my whole family got the coronavirus. So I was just I need to tune out of everything. I stopped going to my classes. I told my professor, I was listen, I'm dealing with a lot. I'm I have this virus and I can't focus. My anxiety was over the roof. So I just started reading to just help me cope with my mental health. But yeah, and then just Christine said, helping out these new debut authors who were publishing their books out in this pandemic where people didn't have the resource to go to the local bookstore. So yeah, I was just trying to do my best to be a supportive system to these books that were coming out during this whole mess.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I feel like you two both, maybe I didn't plan this, but you guys are both sort of on the spectrum of what I've heard from a lot of readers. Either the pandemic sort of helped you buckle down and read a lot more, or the pandemic made you sort of feel like I can't focus, I can't read anything. And I feel like I definitely felt both of those things this year. I sort of at each time I was either Christine or Oscar, I think. Like in November, I didn't finish a book until halfway through the month. And in October, I read like 12 books, which is a lot for me, not even in the pandemic. So it was a very weird month. I mean, and not just the pandemic. I feel like in 2020, we had obviously the election, which was very stressful, and there was a lot of energy around that. And then, of course, we had sort of, I don't know, I guess what I've been recently calling the racial reckoning, where there was this discovery by certain people of anti-Black racism, which was sort of, obviously prompted by the murders of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, among other people. But of course, those three, I think, are the touchstone names of the year that really like sort of sparked the movement, or the attention to the movement, the, I don't know, re-reckoning, if you will. I'm wondering if any of that activity in June had any effect on what you ended up reading in the latter half of the year, if at all. I mean, we're all readers of color. And so I think, and part of the reason that I connect with both of you is that I know that you're both already doing the work around racism and anti-racism, and Oscar, you're Latinx, Christine, you're Filipina. So I feel like there is already a consciousness among your account and everything. So not to insinuate that you guys discovered racism this year by any means, but I'm a Black woman, and I think that my reading changed a little bit this year too. So I'm just curious if you felt that way at all, post June.
Yeah, just like you said, I've been reading these books for the past, since I've been on Bookstagram, the anti-racist books that were going around online. I already read most of them, but I think I had a shift with the nonfiction. I didn't usually read so much nonfiction in a year. It usually was like 6 books of nonfiction. But this year I had like a whole shift where I was trying to see what people were talking about, different topics, because the genre just interested me. So yeah, that's the only shift that I could say that was caused by the whole like summer reckoning that was happening around here.
Right.
Just getting into nonfiction, going back to Baldwin, The Fire Next Time, reading Cast, which came out during the summer. But yeah. And Begin Again. I read Begin Again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually read The Fire Next Time this summer too. And I read The Warmth of Other Suns for the first time, because I know that's one of your favorite books, Tracy. And it just totally transformed my brain, and like how it just connects to so many other aspects of life in America and history. And so I feel like I have a better understanding of what it is, the Black experience in America, with like that time period that it encompasses. But really my reading didn't change too much. Like I had read some of these anti-racist books, How to Be an Anti-Racist, Me and White Supremacy. I had read them at the beginning of the year and stamped junior at the beginning of the year, before, everyone was talking about them. I think like Oscar, I've been more keen to pick up nonfiction, just to have a better understanding of things, and really, continue to do the work on myself. Yeah.
What I'm hearing both of you say is that the shift wasn't necessarily in the content, but more in the form. You were already doing the reading around anti-Black racism, but you both sort of leaned into the nonfiction side of it.
I mean, in some regards too, also in the romance and the joy, in knowing that, okay, these anti-racist reading lists are only one aspect of the Black experience. Like it's more than that. And, Black joy matters, and Black stories matter about, mundane everyday life things. It doesn't all have to be slavery and, civil rights and all of that. Yeah. It's like, it's so much more than that. And so I think also leaning into that and that's really been a good part of my reading experiences here as well.
I definitely second that for sure. As I mentioned, I'm into the literary fiction. So I was doing already reading fiction across the board, Kincaid, Morrison, Baldwin, before the whole thing went down. But yeah, it's just, moving away from the nonfiction, these critics just writing about the slavery and Jim Crow. It's just going to stories written by Black people and for Black people. And it was beautiful.
I had a weird shift, I think, not so much in my reading, but in this podcast. I feel like this is going to sound sort of weird, I think, but because I've never actually articulated this out loud. But I think one of the big shifts for me creating the show this year around the racial reckoning is that I sort of felt like I had to be super inclusive of all of my guests, that I had to make space for white women and Black women and genderqueer, folks and whatever that was, that I had to have a space, not just for quote unquote, a diverse group of guests, but that diversity had to include whiteness in a way. And I think that since June, I realized I am not that interested in that type of blanketed diversity, and that I wanted this podcast to be more specific about who I was inviting, the people and the authors and the readers that interested in me personally, and not so that I was having a sort of colorblind slate of guests, and not colorblind in the sense of I don't see color, but more I guess United Nations-y, right? It's okay, I have to have someone of Slavic descent. I have to have someone of Chinese descent. I have to have someone of Dominican descent, and that maybe I'm not that interested in having that guest, and I shouldn't have to have them just because they check a box. And I think since I've shifted sort of what speaks to me, or if I am my audience, if I created this show because I wanted to have conversations about books in a specific way, I should be reading towards that goal. I should be inviting people on the show towards that goal, and I should be asking questions towards that goal. And I think since I've had that shift, I like the show better. I don't know. Yeah. I'm happier. I mean, I always loved the show, but I think that the episodes are better. I think that the books I'm reading in general have been better. And again, not that I ever had the intention of being colorblind, but I did have a sort of all-inclusive vibe that the show isn't all-inclusive, and that's not how community works. You have to exclude people to create community. You have to exclude, not everybody is your person. Not everybody is your audience. Not everybody is your reader. And I think this year has taught me that as a reader, as a podcaster, just as a human, as a friend, I mean, we're seeing this very, very clearly, I think, for people who are quarantining. You can't just have a backyard hang with every single person. You have to decide who is in your bubble or who is in your extended bubble. Who are you willing to interact with? And I think that sort of mentality has definitely infiltrated how I think about this podcast and how I think about my reading in general. Valentine's Day is upon us, and I've got love on the brain. Love for books, duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind-the-scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to traceythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks. With that being said, I think we should go to the books. So for listeners at home, I asked us all to pick 5 books, but then when we started comparing our books, we actually had a lot of overlap between the 3 of us. So we've each picked 3 books, and then we have 1 book that we all fully agreed on. So we'll save that last. We'll save the one that we all agreed on for the last one, because I guess it would be the consensus pick of book of the year if we did such a thing. But for now, we'll just go in this order: Christine, Oscar, and then myself. And you'll just say your title of your book and what it was that you loved about it. So Christine, kick it off.
This is so hard for me. But I'm going to pick ones that maybe some of your reader or your listeners haven't read yet. So my first one is Displacement. It's a YA graphic novel, and it is written by a woman. The publisher is First Second, and it's by Kiku Hughes. She is biracial Japanese American, and she's in San Francisco, and she is learning more about her grandmother's experience in the internment camps, and something happens, like there's a mist that happens, and she gets transported back in time. And it has a very similar vibe to like Kindred with the time travel-y aspect. It's so well done. The imagery is beautiful. She goes through the whole experience of the internment camp along with her grandmother, without her grandmother knowing that she's her descendant. And it just focuses this experience that her family went through, and that the people who were in internment camps went through, and like all those little moments that maybe, get erased in history, like those little everyday things, and just put more weight to it. And it was just such a beautiful graphic novel and very emotional. And it's one that really stayed with me. And as a biracial person who, is currently like working on getting to know my own culture and history, my family's history more, it really resonated with me. And I think it's something that even if you read literary fiction, or even if you don't normally read graphic novels or YA, this is one that I would recommend picking up.
That sounds so good. I don't even think I have heard of that book. I am very excited.
It's stunning. It really is. I'm have tingles right now just talking about it.
Okay, Oscar, what's your first pick?
So in my list, I have Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor. I think I say her name. I'm bad with names. I'm horrible. Sue me. So this book is it's very like graphic, but the story is really fascinating. So it's about a witch who's just died, who has been killed, murdered. And this whole village in Mexico is trying to investigate like what happened to this witch, and like this whole thing like happens where everybody's just wondering like what happened. But the story really just like I was invested right from the first page. The writing, the prose, always like it was beautiful. It was just it was translated from Spanish. The book is crazy. That's the best way that I can explain it. I haven't even reviewed this book yet of how like shook I've been since I've read it in the summer. But I recommend reading it. I don't want to give a lot because
Okay, don't give anything away.
But, it's intense. Just know that it's intense.
Oh my God, I love it. What country is the author from? Do you know?
And she's Mexican. Yeah,
Mexican. Okay.
Yeah. So like the whole book just tackles like these themes. Like in Mexico, there's been a lot of like brutal murder of women. So it's just like going off like what Bollow was tackling with his books about this violence that was done against women, like going up still, like the numbers. So it's inspired by that, but like the way that she mixes in like this witch and like these stories, everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds so good. For some reason, I had in my head that it was a nonfiction book.
I thought it was a poetry collection.
No, oh my God, no. But,
okay, I'm glad we know now.
No, nothing about it.
No, the author, she said it's inspired by the true story.
Okay.
But she's like mainly tackling that theme of like of women being brutally killed in Mexico. But yeah, she does this like perfectly. It's like, girl, you did that.
Okay, my first pick, again, these are in no particular order. I will go with Black Futures by Jenna Wortham and Kimberly Drew. It's edited by them, excuse me. It just came out December 1st. This book was last year when I went through my books I was most excited about for 2020. This book was on the list. It is, it's impossible to explain. I've never seen a book like it before. It is an essay collection, a poetry collection, an art book. It has memes, it has tweets, it has recipes, it has song lyrics, it has conversations between authors, activists, politicians, artists. It's just this incredible collection all about Blackness, Black history, Black present, Black future. It's about, I mean, if anything, I think I would say this book is a concrete physical manifestation of the idea that Blackness is not a monolith. There is just so much in the book, from, you know, Black barbershops to Black and Indigenous culture, people who are Black and Indigenous, to, you know, trans Black folks, to queer Black folks, to ownership of Black art. There's a recipe for coconut sweetbread that I cannot wait to make. It sounds delicious. There is a conversation between Jenna Wortham and Ta-Nehisi Coates that is so wonderful. It includes some of my favorite authors like Kiese Layman, obviously Jenna Wortham, as I said, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Samantha Irby's in there, a film director who I love, Ezra Edelman, who did the O.J. Simpson documentary. He's in there. One of my favorite like online personalities, Rembert Brown, Wesley Morris, who it's just a fucking Black, diasporic, beautiful. I mean, the only thing that's not physically in the book that I think, you know, is missing, and it can't be, is there's no film in, like, you can't see a movie when you're looking at a book, but there are shots of scenes from films. There's posters. It's just so incredible. And the other thing that I will say about this book, specifically to Black listeners, is that this is one of the first and only pieces of art I think I've ever seen where I felt like, for Black folks, there was no white gaze. Gaze, that this book exists without any explanation or, you know, even consideration of white audiences, in a way that just felt so healing. And yes, it talks about Black Lives Matter, but it talks about the joy and the sections like joy, justice, outlook. Black is still beautiful is one of the section titles. It's just so incredible. It's like 500 pages. I read it in 3.5 days. It's just, everything about it is incredible. So shout out to Black Futures.
Great. Yeah, I recently just got that book and I'm so excited to read it. I have not read anything in December, but once I'm done with these finals, trust and believe, I'm starting Black Futures because it looks like a whole fantasy. I mean,
so good.
The cover. Oh my gosh.
It's so beautiful. I just got a copy the other day too, and I cannot wait to read that.
It's so great. I hope that everyone who picks it up loves it as much as I as I did. Full disclosure, am obsessed with Jenna Wortham. When I started this podcast, I made a list of people that I wanted to be guests, and she is one of the people that is on that list who has not come on the podcast yet. So Jenna, shout out to you. One day. Let's just put it out in the universe. Okay, Christine, you're up.
Okay, my second one is Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kawai Strong Washburn. And it's MCD FSG is the publisher. And it's by a Native Hawaiian author, and it's about a Native Hawaiian and Filipino family in Hawaii. And it's a debut novel. The writing is gorgeous. Like, if you like lyrical kind of like a little elements of magical realism in your literary fiction, this is a great one to read. It's about this family, and they're on their way from one island to another, and the youngest boy, he falls over the ship, and these sharks are there. And this is all in the beginning, so it's not spoilers. And, everyone's freaking out because they think the sharks are going to eat him or attack him. And one of the sharks gently puts the boy in his mouth and carries him back to the ship to his mother. And they are like, he is blessed by the Hawaiian gods. And he has these sort of mystical powers. And and the book explores how that affects the rest of the family. And there's 3 siblings, and there's tragedy that happens, and how does that affect the family? And it really explores like real Hawaii and not white tourists on vacation drinking a pina colada. Like, it really, it's like, if you want a book that's going to give you some of the legit shit about Hawaii, like, this is the book to read. I mean, the writing is just beautiful. It really is. And I noticed back in May during Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, a lot of people had stacks of books for, all different Asian countries, but a lot of people didn't really have any books by Pacific Islanders. And so I think that, and me included, that's definitely an aspect of my reading that I'd like to, focus more on next year. And I think if that's something that's a goal of yours, you should definitely pick up this book as well.
Okay, Oscar?
Yes. Okay, so my next book is Shuggie Bain by Douglas Stewart. And oh my God, believe the hype, y'all. Like, this book has been everywhere, and it's for a reason, because the book is good. Like, it's thick, she's thick, but the book goes in. Like, oh my God, it was just everything. So the book is about the youngest of this family who's dealing with a mom who's like, she's alcoholic. And the book just tackles like these big themes of addiction, and what it does to a family. And it's just like a very emotional ride, but it's beautiful. It's beautifully written, and it's a debut, and it's just so well done. Like, I was crying by the end, just like tearing up, because like Shuggie was just written so perfectly. And also tackles queerness and growing up queer and what that feels like, what society expects from you. And I just like related to like Shuggie, because like, oh my God, like that's literally me growing up different. But also that addiction part really just like really touched me a little bit, because in Dominican culture is like this addiction of alcoholism that nobody talks about. Like, everybody just has this clear addiction. But I don't know, I resonated with just Shuggie and what he was going through. And it was everything.
I'm glad that you love that book, because I have been told by at least 3 people that book is my nightmare and I should not pick it up.
No, it's emotional as hell though. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but that doesn't sound like a Tracy book.
Literally everyone is like, I'm like, should I read it? And they're like, don't do that. But, you know, look, we all have our own reading taste, which is why I wanted you guys to introduce yourself with your taste, because I wanted to make sure that people understood just because a book is not something that I'm going to pick up doesn't mean that it's not a freaking incredible, amazing book. So that sounds like what Shuggie Bain is. It's been on all the lists. So, you know, don't mind me being a nonfiction lover who hates beautiful stories, you know.
Oh my God, no, definitely this is not gonna be up your alley because it's very literary. Like it just goes in. But I'm a sucker for that.
Okay. All right. My next pick, speaking of being a lover of nonfiction, love a good memoir. My book is Memorial Drive by Natasha Trethewey. It is a super slim, I don't know, 200-page, not even, maybe, memoir. When Natasha Trethewey was 19, her mother was murdered by her mother's ex-husband. And it is she's, I believe, now in her 50s or 60s, and she's revisiting this event in her life. And she's dealing with the ways that trauma affects memory, the guilt, the, you know, deep, deep, deep grief, the thoughts of what could have been, what was. And I don't want to say too much about the book, but what I will say is, obviously, from the things I've just said about physical violence and domestic violence, you know, this book has all those trigger and content warnings that you could imagine in a book like this. And from my understanding of readers who have experienced domestic violence, or, you know, have either experienced it as spousal abuse or maybe witnessed it from their parents, my understanding from those readers is that the way that it's handled is with such care that while it's difficult to read, it's not necessarily exploitative or triggering in a way that makes it impossible to read if that's part of your story. Obviously, for every reader, take whatever time you need. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I do just want to say that the readers that I've spoken to who have been forthcoming with that part of themselves have all mentioned that it was more readable and more approachable than what they had anticipated. It's just done with such freaking care. It's so incredible. There are two scenes that are truly like I was literally gasping. I was in the bathtub and I was like, oh my gosh. And Natasha Trethewey was the poet laureate. She, I believe, did a poem for Obama's second inauguration. I mean, she's the fucking realest, dealest person, right? Like, she's no slouch. And this book is incredible. And it's just another example of a poet who writes an incredible memoir. I mean, some poets can do it and some can't, but Natasha Trethewey, she can, and she did. And it's incredible.
I feel like poets who write novels or memoirs is like one of my love languages.
But sometimes they're not good. To me.
Yeah, I mean, not always, but in general, I've found that if it's a poet, I usually will like the book.
See, I think I'm hit or miss because I also don't love that like literary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's like too like, I love words and I'm like doing things with words, you know? Like sometimes it's like too masturbatory. Like Saeed Jones can fucking do it. Like,
yes,
that book was on my list last year, top 10 for sure, 1,000%, How We Fight for Our Lives. But sometimes I'm like, okay. But this book is in that same, I mean, stratosphere of like Natasha Trethewey can write, and it doesn't matter what she's writing, she can do it. So shout out to her.
Yeah, for me, like, I think one of the reasons why I like jumped into poetry this year is because of those like memoirs written by poets and books written by poets. And I've been loving my poetry experience. It's giving me everything I need to survive. And I really recommend jumping in because these poets just put the beautiful words together. And it's just giving me chills all the time. But I have Memorial Drive in my TBR for 2021 though, because I can't.
It's so good. And it's so short. It's like a 1 or 2 day read max. And I suggest reading it in that way. If you don't have time, in the next 48 hours, I wouldn't pick it up. It's pretty immersive. Like you want to be able to read it pretty quickly. So if it's like, oh, I have all this stuff going on, save it for when you have, a rainy weekend or something. All right, Christine.
Okay. For anyone who follows me on Bookstagram, this will not be a surprise, but my last pick is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. It is a adult fantasy, and it's Tor is the publisher. It's an adult contemporary fantasy that is like a warm blanket wrapped around you and just giving you like the biggest little queer hug ever. It is about, I don't even need to tell you what it's about. Just trust me. Like I know so many people who've read it based on my recommendation, and I don't want to sound conceited, but everyone has loved it. It's like so heartwarming. And this book, I've read this book, in print and on audio probably 5 or 6 times this year. Like it has saved me. And it is just pure joy. It is one of those books, like, I think if everyone in the world read it, this would be a kinder world. It's about found family, people who are different, like that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing, and everyone is worthy of love and respect and kindness. And it is just, I'm getting emotional. It is one of the best books ever. And it really is, it's just so kind and endearing. And I really think everyone needs to read it. Even if you're like adult contemporary fantasy, what? Like, even if that's not your jam, like, please just give it a go. It is just so beautiful and loving, and it will make you like just want to hold your heart and give it like a little hug.
That is not my jam, but I will give it a go. Okay, Oscar, go. What's next for you?
So my next pick is Tokyo Union Station. I hope I'm saying that right. By Yu Miri. I'm bad with names, y'all. Please don't kill me. But no, this book, y'all, is short, and it recently just won the National Book Award for Translated Literature. And I read it like in a day. Like I started at night, and like I finished it the day after that, the morning after that. But it's just so good. Again, the writing. I'm there for the writing. And the writing was everything. It's a little emotional though. I cried. I teared up like 4 times in this one. I like my little emotional books. But this is about, the narrator is already dead. And it's just, he's giving you his reflection of his life and what he has been through. It tackles homelessness. And it's just like, it's a beautiful reflection of like life. Like it's just everything. And I'm not trying to give away too many spoilers, but it's so good, and I recommend it. Like, read it, and make sure you have like a tissue box right next to you, because yeah, like I was crying, y'all, like ugly crying.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I've heard very good things about that. That's one of my goals for 2021 is to read more books in translation, and you've given us 2, and I guess all 3 of your books were not American authors, right? Because Shuggie Bain is Scottish, I believe.
Yeah. He is a Scottish writer. Yeah. But that's so try to even notice that.
Good job by you. Look at you, Mr. Worldwide.
Like,
okay. My next one is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by Disha Filia. We all 3 had this on our list, but I strong-armed everyone and put it on my list because I am the host of this podcast, and I don't make episodes every week for 52 weeks in a row to just not be able to talk about my favorite book. So boom. It's a short story collection. It's fiction. And again, sort of, I pretend like I don't like short story collections or fiction. And then every year I always end up talking about how much I loved a short story collection. So what do I know? It's so good. Another book that is sort of unapologetically Black. It's a book about I don't know, it's a bunch of short stories about Black women and their church women in some way or another. It's like hard to say because all the stories are sort of different, but the through line is that it's about Black women and the ways that I guess the church, the idea of churchiness is in their lives. And it has lots of sex, and it has, it has some really sad, like touching stories. And then it has some like really fucking funny stories. And Disha can fucking write. She can write a story. And this book, again, very short. And if you know anything about my reading taste, is I like a short book. I just think it shows skill. I think it shows an ability to be discerning, which I always appreciate. And I mean, this collection it's almost too short. It's so good. It's like, do you have 100 more stories about church women for me? Like, I would love to talk to them. But it's so good. And it was a finalist for the National Book Award. And it's good. I don't know. It's good. That's it. Like, right? Like, what else do you say about it? It's so good. The writing is so good. There's joy, there's sorrow, there's everything that you could want. And it's like 200 pages, I think slightly less.
It's incredible. Obviously not as far as like the content necessarily, but it reminded me, I think, was it you and Jason Reynolds were talking about this in one of his episodes, where The Nickel Boys was like such a perfect like novel. It's, just over 200 pages. And this reminded me of that, where every word is so purposeful and like there's nothing wasted. There's no unnecessary fat to the words, like, but you get so much from each short story. And I loved it too. It was just
so good.
I think that's the best word for it. I was getting my life. I was entertained by those stories. I think it was like the peach cobbler one. That one had me shook. I was like, oh my God. But every story is just like going to Mars. You gotta take it to Mars with these stories. The writing is so clean, like just like Christine said, like there's no fat to those sentences at all. It's just so clean and it's done so perfectly. I loved it.
So good. It's so
good. I loved the How to Love a Physicist.
Oh yeah.
What that was one of my favorites.
My favorite was
so good.
I think my favorite was, is it Jael?
Oh,
I freaking love that one.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah. They're all so good. Okay. We are taking so long and I'm like worried about time. So I'm sort of rushing right now, but I want to give this next one the time that it deserves, because this is the book that I think all three of us also had on our list, The Undocumented Americans by Carla Cornejo Villavicencio. And she was a guest on this podcast, as well as her book was a book club pick for the Stacks this year. I have to say all credit to Oscar and Lupita for putting this book on my radar. And I think probably putting this book on a lot of people's radar. A debut from Carla, who is, I mean, who could say right now for sure, but it feels like she's going to be a voice of this generation. And this is the first of many incredible things she's going to put into the world. And this book is sort of creative nonfiction, I think is what you might call it. It has aspects of memoir. It has aspects of reportage. It has, a little history. It has sort of, I guess, maybe magical realism-y, you might say, but I also don't want to say that because I think that gives people the wrong idea. But it's about undocumented people in America. And for me, what stands out about this book, and I think we all will say, our little piece about it, but for me, what stands out about this book is the creativity of the storytelling. Obviously, the incredible storytelling, her sense of voice is just unmatched. I mean, I read so much nonfiction, and it's so rare that a writer is able to do the inserting themselves into the narrative so well, in addition to doing the reporting part so well. And she blurs the lines of sort of traditional reporting in a way that, really made me think and question what I think of as quote unquote traditional reporting. And the last thing I'll say is that her writing really has sort of a fury to it and a rage to it that is appropriate and compelling. Like I felt compelled to change who I am and to question what I think because of her writing. And so for all of those reasons, I think this is not only a quote unquote important book, but a fucking good book.
Yeah, I agree. This is the book that is at the top of my list since I read it at the beginning of the year. And I think what it was for me is that we started the year with that infamous book.
Of course.
By Oprah. I don't even want to mention that book. And when I read the book, I remember just getting to like that first chapter after the introduction, it's just like crying at the middle of the night because like I never read a book that wrote about like I saw myself right on the page and I never like experienced that like so deeply. And I feel like she was writing to me. Like I just felt it. She was writing words that I couldn't even found that I was feeling. It's just like writing those feelings down on this book. And I was just like getting my whole life. And I remember that time like crying and I kept reading. And throughout the year, I've been trying to go back and reread the book, but I can't because like I'm about to get emotional, but I can't like it's very traumatic to like go through that experience again because like I was just getting these bad thoughts. But the book like is everything. As an immigrant, I just like loved it. And I pushed hard for that book because I needed everyone to read it, especially in a time where like immigrants are being just like used by this country. And Carla just did the motherfucking thing.
She did. Christine, go ahead.
Just reiterating what you both said, it's such an incredible book. And I think it's, you know, I'm hesitant to say, oh, this is a must read. Everyone needs to read, you know, one certain book because everyone has different tastes or, you know, triggers for themselves that maybe it's not the right time for them to read a book. But I think this would be in that category of a book that I would recommend to everyone. I mean, I don't know that I can add much more to what you both said. It's just, it really is incredible. It's a book that has stayed with me. It really impacted me. And she has such a great perspective. And yeah, like you said, Tracy, the rage and the fury in her writing, it grabs you and it forces you to look at these people and these stories that are being, you know, that she's sharing in her book in a way that maybe not everyone has thought about them before or has seen themselves in that, you know, in a book before. It really is an incredible read. Definitely recommend it.
I'll just say one last thing and then we'll take a quick break, which is if you're listening to this episode the day that it came out, it is December 23rd for you. And if you are trying to find the right book to gift someone in your life who maybe you think has a heart, but maybe has some bad political ideas or leanings, this might be a really great gift for them. With a really lovely, compassionate note from you saying why you think it's important for them to read this book. And you can get it at your local independent bookstore in person. You can order it probably in advance and pick it up with a mask on and be compassionate to those folks who work at those independent bookstores. But I think this book is a great gift. For people who are quote unquote doing the work, whatever that looks like. We are just going to tell all of you some of the books that we're most excited about that are coming out in the year 2021. Oscar, why don't we let you start since you did not start last time?
Okay. For 2021, I actually had to go online, look for these books because I was like, what books are coming out in 2021? Like, I'm lost. But the first one that I have is Filthy Animals by Brandon Taylor.
That was on my list too.
Yes. I mean, that's the first one that popped up in my head. And I'm just so excited because I read Real Life at the beginning of the year. And I was just, again, I'm getting my life, like this writer, his debut was everything. His writing made me feel different things in my belly. It was just so good. And I'm so excited to see what he does with stories because I haven't checked out his stories before, but I heard they're great. So I'm excited for Filthy Animals.
Me too. Christine, what about you?
Okay, my first one is The Committed by Viet Thanh Nguyen. It's a sequel to The Sympathizer, which won the Pulitzer a couple years ago and is one of my favorite books. It's the first book I ever read in my whole life with a biracial, like Asian and white narrator. And it shook me to my core. His writing is stunning. I actually started The Committed a couple of days ago. Bookseller perk, Galley Bragg. It is so good. Everyone read The Sympathizer if you haven't read it so that you can be ready for The Committed. This is like, if you just love words and great storytelling, I don't even know. Just read it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This should come as zero surprise to any humans who know me, but there is a book coming out in February called 400 Souls. It's by Dr. Ibram X. Kendi and Dr. Keisha Blaine. They edited it. It's a collection. The way that it's the 400-year history of America. It's told okay, I have to get this right. So every person who writes in the book writes about a 4-year span. So it's 100 essays, plus there are 4 poets who write a poem about each 100-year span. It's all Black writers. It's all about the history of America, sort of told by Black folks. And some of the people who I know are contributing are some of my favorite guests from the show. Kiese Layman is in there. Damaris B. Hill is in there. Ijeoma Oluo is in there. They're announcing people as they go, so I don't even know who else is in there yet, but it sounds amazing. And this is now the 3rd year in a row that I have shouted out a book by Ibram Kendi as a book I'm looking forward to, because he is prolific in a way that stresses me out. Okay, Oscar, next up for you.
Okay, so in my research of books coming out, I came across this book. It is called My Broken Language and it's a memoir, and it's by Kiara Alegria Hudes. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. Don't sue me, okay? Don't sue me. But this is a memoir of the writer she was a co-writer for the play In the Heights. The movie's coming out, I think next year. But I'm really excited because this writer, she did an event with Carla when her book came out. And I remember mentioning her memoir, and I was just like, oh my God, I must have that in my list. But I forgot about it. So in my research, I found it. And I'm so excited that it's coming out next year. And she's going to be talking about growing up in Philly. And I'm over here like, yes, okay, writers out here. I don't read a lot of Philly-based books, so I'm excited for this one.
Awesome.
Okay, my next one is Love and Color by Bollow Babalola. She is a British author. It actually has come out in the UK, but it doesn't come out till next year here. And it's a short story collection that's retellings of love stories and mythologies and folklores, and it's like decolonizing those tropes. So there's going to be like folktales, West African folktales, Middle East legends, Greek mythology. I'm really excited for that book.
Okay, so this book I don't know anything about it. I don't even know the title, but I think Ta-Nehisi Coates has a book coming out in 2021. I'm not sure, but there is some murmuring of something like that. So that's not really an official book I'm excited about, but yes, it's a book I'm excited about. If it happens in 2021, like, yes, I will be reading it. So, but my real official pick, I guess, is called Somebody's Daughter by Ashley C. Ford. She is someone who I follow on social media and have heard her on podcasts. And I'm just really excited about her memoir. And from what I understand, it's about maybe some sort of a relationship with her dad that's maybe a little not great, or it's complicated. And I just really love following Ashley on social media and the activism and all of that. So I'm really excited about whatever is in this book. And one of the things that's hard for me to do about books I'm looking forward to is I don't like to know about books too much before I pick them up. So I try to just like quickly look at it and not like internalize anything. I'm like, okay, what can I glean from this? So I don't really know what the book's about, but from what I heard her talk about like a year ago on a podcast, I think on the long form podcast, was her writing about her dad. So that's what I think this is about. But I'm excited because I love Ashley. Okay, Oscar, go.
So my next one is the new Stacey Abrams book. I'm really excited about that because when I saw this like a few weeks ago, I'm like, hold up, Stacey Abrams is coming out with a book. Oh, it must be nonfiction. Then I look it up and it's actually fiction. And I was a little shook. I was like, whoa, hold up, plot twist. And then I went and looked up, and then apparently she was writing books under a pseudonym of romance novels. And I was like, what?
Was it Serena Montgomery? I think is her pen name.
Oh, right. So I was a little shook. So I'm excited that she's coming out with this novel next year. And I don't know what it's about, but I want to get it.
Okay, my next pick is, it's a cozy mystery by a Filipina author, and it's called Arsenic and Adobo, and it's by Mia Manansala. I'm really excited. You know, this goes into the, you know, all like Filipinos have just been traditionally overlooked in a lot of media, and I really, you know, it's not just about like the suffering and the trauma, like it's about the joy. And I just like I love the idea of a cozy mystery, because I like that genre, but it traditionally is very white. So I'm super excited for that book, because I love Filipino food and just like, yeah, you know, leaning into sort of the cozy vibes, like just have a nice cup of tea and read something that just draws you in and is a nice quick read.
Christine, I'd never even heard of a cozy mystery until last year, and I was like, what is this? Apparently it's a whole genre. I didn't know that was a thing.
Whole genre. And I never thought I liked it.
Like, what's the mystery? Like, it's like, where is my yarn? Like, I don't understand what a cozy mystery is.
Okay, so there's this one series I love, and the first book is called Death by Dumpling. And this is what made me realize I like cozy mysteries, because it's written by an Asian woman, Vivian Chang. I think she is Taiwanese. And it's about a girl in her 20s who works for her family's noodle shop in like an Asian market, and someone accidentally eats shrimp dumplings, and he's allergic and he dies, and she is trying to help figure out the mystery. And it's just more.
But what's the mystery? Like, who made the dumpling?
Who killed him?
Oh, it was on purpose. Oh, I thought it was like an accident. I was like, that the waiter didn't write shrimp allergy on the ticket.
No, was it? Or was it a murder?
I see. Okay.
It's
this
just,
sounds like...
I don't know like what the technical way, what it makes it cozy, but it's like a little more charming and like, you know, not super dark and serious or like gory.
I see. Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll pick one up, but it doesn't seem likely.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
For you. It's a newfound thing for me.
Okay, fair. Good. I'm glad you found that for yourself. It couldn't be me. Okay, I have so many books that I want to shout out, and I don't know how to do this diplomatically or kindly. And so I am just going to pick a book that I am interested in. It's called Bird Uncaged, an abolitionist's freedom song by Marlon Peterson. I came to know of Marlon Peterson because in Kiese Lehman's re-released essay collection, How to Slowly Kill Yourself and Others in America, there is a essay called Echo, and it's Kiese and Darnell Moore, Kai M. Green, Michael Denzel Smith, and Marlon Peterson in conversation with each other. And so this is Marlon's memoir, and Marlon was imprisoned for I'm not sure what, and I'm not sure for how long, but Bird Uncaged is his memoir, and he's an prison abolitionist, and I came to know of it through Kiese and also through Darnell, as they're all friends and kind of have like a cohort of mentorship between themselves. I don't know. It's this sort of beautiful thing. And so, you know, anything Kiese says I should read is going to be read by me. That's that for me. This episode went way longer than I was anticipating, but I am not sorry, because this is like the most exciting thing to talk about, what we loved and what we're looking forward to. I'm hopeful that in 2021, we're going to be able to be in bookstores again, going to author events in person. And I'm hopeful that authors will feel the love that they deserve for their hard work in ways that I think some folks were cheated out of this year, which is really sad. But on the flip side, I got to attend author events I never would have got to attend. I think we all got to hear from authors and about books in different ways, which was really thrilling. So it wasn't all bad. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for having us here. Oh my God.
Yay.
This was such a treat. Obviously, everything we talked about today is linked in the show notes. There's one more episode this month. Next week, I'll be back with Darnell Moore talking about Citizen by Claudia Rankine. And I already recorded that conversation. And let me just tell you, it's amazing. So thank you all for being here. And everyone else, we will see you in the stacks. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you so much to Christine and Oscar for being my guests. Reminder, our final episode of the year is next Wednesday. It is the Stacks Book Club for December, Citizen, an American Lyric by Claudia Rankine, which we will be discussing with Darnell Moore. Please make sure you're subscribed to the Stacks wherever you listen to your podcasts, and if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, take a moment to rate and review this show. For more from The Stacks, follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram and at The Stacks Pod _ on Twitter, and check out our website, thestackspodcast.com. Today's episode was edited and produced by Sebastian Alcala. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tigirigis. The Stacks is created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas.